Okay, that was a little bit of Born Under a Bad Sign. It's an old Albert King song, but I play it the way Cream played it. Eric Clapton, and when he had his Cream band, played it in the key of G. Actually a different key than Albert King played it in. And so that's how I'm going to show you in the key of G. You're basically starting with a G7th chord, which is right there. But instead of just playing chords, what you're doing is you're playing this very cool rhythm background part. And if you took a pentatonic scale starting with the G and played a G minor pentatonic scale from there, it would basically be this scale here. And that's what they're playing off of when they play the rhythm. So you're going to start with the C note here, and if you notice, we're just basically playing straight from that pentatonic scale. And what I do is I do a little scratch in between each phrase just to keep the rhythm going. So it's, and by the way, you're going straight up the scale and then back down to that note. And that's the root note right there. That's the G, right? And that's the key we're in. But there's sort of two forms to this phrase. One is going up and the other one's going down. The one that goes down sounds like this. And that's because you got to get back here and you got to reach for this B here. And you end on that G instead. So when you go up, you're ending on this G. And when you're going down, you're ending on this G. Either way, you're ending on the root note. Okay? And if you start off by just alternating those two forms of the phrase, this is what you get. And by the way, when you're playing that B there, that's a very bluesy note right there. And what you do is you want to pull it down, you want to tease it just a little bit. If you notice, it's not just a straight B note, you're just teasing it just ever so slightly. Okay? It's actually the B flat. So it's more like. Now when he starts singing, what they actually do is, when he's singing the verse, they're not playing a full phrase. They go back to a shortened version of it where they play it like this. And that's because if you start singing it, you'll notice that it's just easier to play that when you're singing. It's very tough to sing. It's like chewing gum and walking at the same time. When you try to sing over the tops of the phrases that go all the way up and all the way down. But you can do it. It just takes practice. So that's pretty much the phrase. Okay, and then they finally go into the 4 and the 5 chord. So if you're playing the G7th as the number 1 chord, your 4 chord is C7th, and the 5 chord is the D7th. So you'll see how they march up to the D7th. What they do is they play these 4 notes here. Those 4 notes. But when you get up to this one, play it with your first finger, and then you're right there to play the D7th chord. And then you're going to march from the 5 chord down to the 4 chord by playing the half step in between. And then give it a quick 1-2 punch. So it's like this. And then you go right back into the rhythm again. And if you can, what they do is they go to the higher phrase first time out of the 5 and the 4 chord. So let me show you how that rhythm goes when you get into the 4 and the 5 chord. You're playing this. And then one of the other things that happens in the very last verse, they're singing. They go from the 5 chord down to the 4 chord, but then they go back up to the 5 chord again. And then they just stop right on that 4 chord. So they kind of go back and forth and they loop those 2 chords a little bit. It sounds like this. Alright, and then if you're Eric Clapton, you just play the lead over the top of all of that. And you would have Cream's version of Born Under a Bad Sign. Born under a bad sign, I've been down since I began to crawl. If it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have no luck at all. Bad luck and troubles, my only friend. I've been down ever since I was 10. Born under a bad sign. I've been down since I began to crawl. If it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have no luck at all. You know, wine and women's all I crave. Big bad woman's gonna carry me to my grave. Born under a bad sign. I've been down since I began to crawl. If it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have no luck. If it wasn't for real bad luck, I wouldn't have no luck at all.